Hello, Boxy, and welcome to your deck review for Shadow Clone Jutsu. For anybody joining us on YouTube for the first time, this is a series where I, Smalltown, talk about your PP. Your PP being your premise and your practicum. Your premise is the idea behind your commander deck. It's what you hope it does in your dreams when you're tucked in at night. Your practicum is the dog shit you put in the 99. It's the fact that this is a downgraded precon, fever dream, any other type of deck that should never have existed in the first place. And so we're going to talk about the idea and if there is a version of it that can work, and then what has to be done to your version of it to get there. I have read the primer already for this. We want to cast Akroma and then clone her with Sakashima and other clones so that Akroma applies her buffs to herself, and then we kill people with a lot of flying damage. And we're talking about we don't feel like it's going fast enough. We're not necessarily at a super high bracket, but it does just slog along because we don't have green. And we don't want to run interaction, which I'm very sympathetic to. But we're going to open with one of the things I always talk about, which is if you have a thing to do that is slow, your two options are try to do it faster, slow other people down. If we're hitting a wall and doing it as quickly as we can, which we may well be at when we're ramping 22 times, we're gonna have to slow people down. Now, you said in your primer that it feels bad to you to interact because it can feel like too targeted and like you're just shutting one person down. The answer to that is board wipes, which oftentimes can feel worse because then rather than shutting down the one player who's definitively ahead, you're shutting down the person who's in first for sure and needs to be stopped, and you're shutting down the motherfucker who got land screwed, and you're shutting down the person who just started playing Magic and does, even if they are a threat, you should let them be a threat for a little bit so they can have a nice time, you know? Um, so I am going to recommend interaction, but what I'm probably going to recommend is more expensive interaction that can deal with multiple problems. It doesn't sound like your table is a table where it's like turn 3, we got to make sure nobody combos off, but it does sound like, hey, turn 5, Jeremy's getting a little too sticky, you know, we got to rinse him off. So what I'm probably going to recommend to pair with all this ramp you have is stuff like River's Rebuke, which I think is going to make you the most uncomfortable because it is the most targeted. But based on what you have described about your pod, this is the most realistic type of interaction you will need. You will need to send one person, the person who is in the lead, back to the Stone Age. And if you really don't want to do this, your only other option for slowing people down in a way that doesn't feel targeted or salty is to bring in a number of board wipes so that you can just kind of ramp for the first couple turns. And then if it's getting too active, be like, hey, we're all going to just take a step back, everybody. Get on the fucking ground. All right, we're fumigating the bitch. Those are your two options there. So let's look at your ramp and see if there's anything going wrong there. I disagree. I disagree. I disagree. Sure. I disagree. I disagree. Great. Great. I disagree. 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 Okay, I think we can fix a lot in the ramp section. So what I don't like about your ramp section is a lot of our stuff only makes 1 mana. And when you are counting, when you are racing to a mana value that is greater than 4 or 5, you no longer want your ramp cards to give you 1 mana for 1 card. You always want it to be, I'm going to play this 1 card and it's going to give me access to 2 or more mana. What I mean by that is you start trading it out for stuff like Palladium Mirror. You start trading it out for stuff like Worn Power Stone, Thrawn Dynamo. So let's look at OTAG ramp. Mana value less than or equal to 4. We'd be doing it totally differently if you had access to better colors than Azorius, but you don't, so here's how we're doing it. And maybe you have enough later on. No. We keep doing 1 card, 1 mana. We do have Worn Power Stone though, God bless you. But like this is what we want to ladder into. Because you think about how many cards do I have to play to get to a Chroma if all of my cards only represent 1 mana? I have to play 7 cards. Versus how many cards do I have to play if one of my cards represents 3 mana? I have to play 5, right? I have to play 4 1-mana cards and then 1 3-mana card. That's way better. That means the 2 other things in your hand could be the interaction you needed. It could be something to give a Chroma double strike to win sooner. It could be another clone spell. It could be a card draw spell to refill your hand after you get it done. That's the other axis to think about. We can't just think about, oh, I have to count really high. We have to think about how many of the right cards do I need to find before my game plan is active. So there's Thrawn Dynamo, there's let's see, Hedron Archive. You could Basalt Monolith, which is, this is like my favorite stupid fucking card to recommend to more casual people, especially, and when you do this, never put in a way to untap it for free. That is what makes it funny. The moment you begin going like, oh, I'm gonna Voltaic Key, oh, I'm gonna Unwinding Clock, then you just suck. But if you like Basalt Monolith because I need Jeska's Will, it cracks me up every fucking time. Palladium Mirror. Archaeomancer's map is also a very good catch-up ramp piece that can potentially represent more than 1 mana for the 1 card. Because also importantly, we're not very pip restrictive. Of the 7 mana we make, only 2 has to be a color. That's really not very much. And then the only reason I disagree with Astral Cornucopia is because I doubt we are proliferating very much. And even though it's like, oh, this could be more than 1 mana per card, we have to already have 6 mana before this makes more than 1 mana for us. So much. So I wouldn't play this, anybody listening, unless you have cost reducers or you're able to proliferate the counters on it. You could extraplanar lens. I wouldn't recommend it because we're in 2 colors. This is normally a desperate trick used by monocolor players, but you could mess around with it. You could do more stupid shit like Collector's Vault, particularly because we have very few things going on with the deck. Like we have ramp, clone, buff. That's it. Having a little bit of card selection to just have something to do, quite frankly. Find our land drops, find our ramp pieces, and then it makes us treasures on the side. That can also be very, very nice. We have any others? Depending on your pod, Deep Known Terramancer can be great. Also, depending on your pod, Bitterthorn can be great. It depends on your confidence and your ability to politic that first 1/1 through on turn 4. If you get 2 swings with Bitterthorn, oh, beautiful. You might even be able to make it work because you can go turn, when I have 3 mana, play Bitterthorn. When I have 4 mana, play Sakashima. Oh, we can't copy the germ, but we play Sakashima, copying any creature on the board. We send Bitterthorn out to die. On our next turn, we can reattach it to Sakashima, who's hopefully copying a good creature, or at least a creature that can swing safely, and then we're home free, and we get to keep putting lands into play. A slightly less dangerous game than Extraplanar Lens, but still a pretty big risk. You are kind of island heavy. No, I really don't think I believe in it. I don't. I want to be kooky and tell you to do it, but I don't think you can. Fuck it, dog. Run Soul Talisman. We're already going at a snail's pace. We already got that critter pace. Who cares? Regalia is not bad, particularly because you have the 4-drop in your command zone who can just come in as somebody else's creature and then get it going. Stone Speaker Crystal is another 2 mana one. So I would try to get at least 6 to 8 of these cards that represent more than 1 mana and switch out some of your 1 mana stuff in the deck. And I'm just going to do that kind of at random. So we have one thing that represents 1 mana. We don't have any others. So I'm going to say the next one I draw represents 2 mana. I'm a little cheater. We also we don't have the mana to cast this one. Holy fuck. We might have to change the land base around a little bit if you want to be 2 pipping it turn 2. So we pass, sadly. Holy fuck, we passed sadly. Holy fuck, we copy somebody else's soul ring. All right, great. So now we're pretty close anyway. We would do this, get our commander, but it's like turn 6. A lot has happened. Um, I really don't think you need these tutors. I mean, tutoring's never. Oh, it gives double strike too. Never mind. We can do that. That's fine. All right, what do we get? 4 mana ramp that only gives us fucking 1. But I know why we have it. I know we have it for after we break legend rule. How do we not? Okay, I'm gonna mulligan realistically. I'm taking my free mulligan. Oh, this is perfect. So I go tap land, pass. I go land for 1. Great. I go land, Horn Power Stone. I go land, a Chroma. So if with the additions I've already suggested, you can do this every game. If doing that every game and having 5 cards left in hand on average is not good enough for the deck to feel good, you must begin board wipe. Simple as. If this is good enough, then make all those swaps I talked about with the 1 mana for 1 card things to the 2 or more mana for 1 card things, and then you will most of the time get to a turn 4 Chroma, and on turn 5 you can begin cloning a Chroma. And now we have the mana to go like that, then that. We have 2 Achromas, or 3 Achromas total now. So we're going to get +2/+2 for each keyword, which means we're going to get +8/+8. We have a 14/14 flying first strike vigilance trample. We have a piece of not free interaction. This is not flawless maneuver. What a shame. We could potentially change around our interaction to be more protection oriented, but like turn 5, I'm going to put 1 person on lethal with commander damage. That seems acceptable to me for lower bracket gaming. Dog, hell no. I'm exile cycling this for free. I never drew that card. Okay, here's one of the 1 mana guys we could have kept. This gives creatures indestructible. I think we would tutor. I don't know what we'd grab. I presume there's some legendary that would help you here, but you grab that one. It comes down to, is the situation I laid out on turn 4 good enough? If yes, do what I told you and nothing more. Deck's perfect. If it's not good enough, we keep going. The way I would keep going is I would look for one-sided board wipes. The board wipes that sweep based on power will probably be good for you. If you don't want to go all the way to board wiping, I would at minimum go all the way to things that deal with more than 1 problem per card. Same philosophy as with the ramp. Grasp of Fate, taking the best thing from each player, and then you skip the player who is having a bad game, much like you are. You can politic with them a little bit, and you can get rid of the 2 people that are getting a little bit too, a little bit too close for comfort. You can also do stuff like Baral's Expertise. You ramp for a turn or 2, and it's like, okay, I can't quite do a Chroma yet. I'm going to slow down. I'm going to get rid of the 3 biggest problems, and I'm going to free cast a ramp spell. I'm going to free cast my tutor piece, whatever. This is the type of stuff that is going to go the best for you. I believe the tag is like multi-removal. So I would look at multi-removal. I would be looking for mana value. I don't know, in between. I feel like they might do it like that. No, that makes no fucking sense. I don't know the syntax here, man. Mana value would be between 3 and 5. Greater than or equal to 3. Less than or equal to 5. Maybe 6. I'll do 6. Search with these options. Give me O-tag multi-removal. Okay. And here you have just a million fun things that you can cram in the deck that are really expensive spells for the most part, that a lot of decks that want to interact don't get to play because they don't want to ramp this brazenly and do nothing with it for so long. But because you do, it gives you potential turn 3 plays, turn 4 plays that most people just don't get to do. So the best ones are probably Council's Judgment, Meringue River Regent because it has the instant speed card draw spell. Grasp of Fate, Amphibian Downpour, Mystic Confluence. I like Collective Effort. Step 3, you can always do something fucked up with Step 3. I'm sure there's some wizard that's appropriate in your deck. I don't give a shit about stuff like that, but I'm sure there's something. Um, Season of the Burrow, even. You can make chump blockers. You can get rid of 2 non-land permanents. You can recur, your Palladium Mirror if it got killed early. But that is where I would be at. You could also do stuff like fucking Riptide Gearhulk. Isn't that sick? It is so goddamn sick. And that is how I would course correct this, because that will give you the gas to get to the mana values you need to get to, and then when you're at the mana values you have to get to, you can get rid of enough stuff while either feeling like you're being even-handed or at least being able to politic what the multiple choices are. As somebody who plays with a lot of removal, it has generally felt a lot better, even though it seems like it would be saltier. If I'm doing something like this is in the context of a reanimator deck. If I'm doing Noxious Gearhulk and I just shoot the one problem, the one person whose problem I shot is like, I fucking hate you. You're the worst person ever. Over the past weekend, I was resolving Armagon over and over and over again across many of my games, and people would still try to stop me, but they were significantly less butthurt if I was like, okay, that's the biggest problem for me, so I have to get rid of that. I also kind of think that's a problem. Yeah, guys, because then the person who's getting their favorite thing removed can also be like, oh, but if you remove my thing, Joey's just going to win the game. You can be like, okay, well, I'll hit Joey too. Don't worry about it. We're all, we're going to take care of it. So a lot of it relies on your ability to navigate the situation politically, but it is very possible for it to feel much better. Unexplained absence, also a fucking heater. So that is what I would do. Now, buffers you cut. Fuck no. Fuck no. Fuck no. Cute. Not a buffer. Maybe this is just protection, or you're using buffer as in like space between you and the other thing. Fuck no. Fuck no. Hell yeah. That rips. Yeah, I would rather see this be those big pieces of interaction I talked about, or just more card draw for more clones, because it seems like once you get the second clone into play, you are pretty scary. You just are. And it's very possible to have the mana to go turn 4 Acroma, turn 5 double clone, and then the third clone. I think you're just, do you get to lethal because you would get plus 12. It's not lethal. That's embarrassing. So it's 4 clones is lethal, or we have to give her double strike. So if you want to do buffer by giving a keyword, I would limit it to something that is going to give double strike, not something that's going to give one additional keyword for one more +1/+1. I would rather get a new clone into play. I would rather protect our commander at instant speed. I would rather cast one of these big problem solver spells. But I think you got this. So anybody in the comments, if I missed a heater for this type of strategy, let Boxy know. Thank you very much, Boxy, and I do hope this helped.